Good morning, it's Monday. Bonnie's decided to jump down and be all alert rather than sitting nicely up there. Hey? As soon as I start talking, she's like, where are we going? What are we doing? We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere, no. What I was saying is it's Monday. We have the builders here again. They're up on the roof. It's definitely going to be another work in here day to day. I feel like I said day too many times. There's a helicopter going over now. I actually wrote a list last night of the things I want to try and accomplish this week for work. I know I'm not going to accomplish them all. I always overestimate my abilities when I do a list. I'll write a list, it'll remind me of something else, I'll write it down so I don't forget that, and then it'll remind me of something else, and I'll write that down so I don't forget it. And then my list is like a novel, and there ain't no way I'm finishing everything on that list, basically. But there's enough on there for me to pick and choose if I fancy, like, stopping one thing and doing something else, because that is definitely going to happen. The main thing I want to do this week is get the designs for the flower presses sorted. I know now that I want to design a stamp that I can use as the decoration for the flower press rather than painting something and then printing it. I just feel like it'd be nicer for the flower presses to have something else handmade on top of them, and then it also makes each stamp, like each flower press design, will be unique to one another. So last night I doodled on the back of some note paper that I had. Some of them weren't the one at all. Some of them, however, I quite liked and I think would look quite nice as a stamp. That's my goal for this week, is by the end of the week I want to have one, maybe two stamp designs and hopefully the bolts and stuff will have arrived as well, because those I ordered last week, or maybe the week before. No, it's last week. What else have I got on here? I want to finish editing the cutout stickers that I was talking about in the last vlog and the tulip artwork, so I can try and get maybe one or two of the sticker sheets designed and ready to send off. Who knows? But yeah, that's where I'm at. I am going to bring the stamp carving stuff into here and all my doodling stuff so I can carry on doing these. I am thinking of maybe practicing with one of the stamps I've got already, just so I can see whether the paper that I have will work being like stuck and glued onto the MDF and then putting a varnish over it and seeing how well that works, because if not, that's something I'll need to troubleshoot sooner rather than later. I've actually been and had my lunch because Bonnie was getting all restless, so I decided to go down, let her out, and then I got my lunch and I got lunch for her as well. But before I went downstairs I drew up one design that I really liked. I used my phone to make a sort of light box so I could trace it. I traced it a bit neater and I made it a little bit bigger. This came out really, really nice. A few layers of PVA glue might be enough, I'm not sure, but I am going to try it with a bit of varnish over the top. I might do a half so I can see the difference. But after one layer I'm very happy with how it looks, and it's very sealed in, it didn't smudge. Yeah, it's got it's a nice feel to it. So you kind of have to imagine this design on here like this, but a bit bigger, and that's what I'm going for. It means once I've made the stamp, which is the time consuming part, I'll be able to stamp out however many designs and then spend the time gluing them on and cutting them out and stuff. In a minute I am going to stop so I can finish editing the vlog from last week, because that needs to go up this evening, and then at some point today I might even have a go at carving a stamp, who knows, I don't know. It's Wednesday. I had a little day off yesterday. It wasn't planned particularly. The builders were here yesterday again and they took down the scaffolding, which was actually really good. I have light in my office again, which is really lovely. But yeah, they were doing that all morning, so it was a bit of a morning. I decided to take Bonnie out for a walk to try and get out of the house a bit with her, and in the afternoon I decided I wanted to do some field walking. I've been itching to get out on the fields after the rain, because that's when it's easy to see stuff, because the rain has like washed away a lot of the mud. So I decided, considering I'd kind of not done much in the morning and I hadn't felt like it, yeah, I decided to do some field walking in the afternoon, which was really nice, and I found some really cool bits. When I got home I decided to sort through some of the things that I'd already washed and cleaned from other field walking days I hadn't put away yet. I just had a day for myself. I decided to just kind of switch off from work things for a little bit. Today also hasn't really gone to plan. but I still want to do work this afternoon. It's currently 2:20 and I have not done much. I've eaten my lunch, I did a little bit of work in bed this morning on my laptop, but not much. And then just as I was going to come back up here and sort things out to get started with work, I let Hallie out, who's our oldest dog. She is 13. I let her out. She's not been well recently. She had I can't remember what it's called. She's basically had an episode where she's dizzy constantly. The vet said that we thought she'd had a stroke or something. Thankfully, touch wood, she's improving. It's just like an old age symptom sort of thing, but it means she's not steady on her feet whatsoever. So my parents were having lunch, so I said I'll let her out, and I went out there with her, and she was very good. She didn't fall over while she was having a pee, but in the least graphic way possible. She didn't do so well with the number 2s, and I had to pick her up to bring her in and figure out how to wash her feet. I'm glad I had my lunch first, let's put it that way. I'm currently feeling a bit overwhelmed, I'm not gonna lie, because there was a lot of smells, there was a lot of noise, there was a lot of trying to troubleshoot quickly, and my brain's a bit like, ugh. So I've come upstairs to just try to bring my brain back down a little bit before I get started with work stuff. Today I'm not sure if I'm gonna try tidying my desk or just pushing things to one side and carrying on with the flower press stuff. I definitely want to do the flower press stuff. I had the bolts and stuff arrive, so I have those to play around with, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that whilst I still have mess going on around me. So yeah, we'll see when I get in there. I will show you the state of my desk and the room in general, so you can see kind of what I'm dealing with. But either way, I definitely want to do some flower press stuff today. I'm gonna carry on just having a bit of a chill moment here, and then I will head into the office and show you what's what. Okay, so this is the current state of my office. As you can see, this is my issue. These I had in my other room when I was doing the flower press stuff the other day, and I brought it back in here. This stresses me out, but it's kind of contained stuff. It's not as bad as it has been. It's just there's no surface space, and so I need to create some surface space. I don't think I'm going to be able to do what I want to do with the flower presses in the room whilst it's like this. I think I need to tidy it again. It's mainly this stuff here, like the de-stash stuff, that I need to organise a bit better. This stuff isn't really an issue, it's just kind of where I've brought things from my other room to tidy my other room. I've brought them in here and then I've just left them here. So yeah, that's stuff that basically has homes. I did have all the postcards arrive the other day, the vintage postcards. These are going to go in grab bags, like vintagey, junk journal-y grab bags. There was loads. I didn't count them all because the listing said there was about 750 or something. This is a small chunk of them. There's a lot. Some of them have writing on, some of them don't. A lot of them are from the UK. Most of them are from the 1900s, like early 1900s, 1906, 1907, and then they go up to like 1970s. That's just the ones that have writing on the back because they have like a stamped postmark that tells me the date. But any of the ones that have nothing on the back, I don't actually know what time period they're from. I basically went through the stack and I picked out ones that I wanted to go through, look through, and possibly keep for myself for my collection, because I do collect old postcards, old mail. There's loads I could have kept, but I was very strict with myself. So this is the stack so far of the ones I don't want. So I'm going to be putting them in grab bags with the stamps, like vintage stamps. They're not going to contain just vintage stuff. I will have obviously modern papers that are vintage style. These I think would look so nice if you had them as like a flap or a tip-in or something in a journal. And obviously if they've got writing on the back as well, I love it. I love that it's like they're being used for something else. I also have these I need to do. I need to go plant seeds at some point. I got these off Amazon. I'm upgrading for my seeds this year, my seed trays. I collected a lot of seeds from last year's flowers in the garden, and I kept them, and I'm hoping they will grow this year, which is why I have these little seed trays. I think I'm just going to tidy this room by making some piles to start with. We'll do the pile method, which is usually a good start for me. So I'll make a pile of stuff that doesn't belong in here and just needs to go out, and then I'll make a pile of stuff that does belong in here and just needs to be put away, and then a pile of stuff of things I don't know where to put. So yeah, like things like my camera that's just sat here, I know where to put that, I just haven't put it away. Same with the camera batteries. Same with the packing tape, that has a home, I just haven't put it away. Things like this though, a load of energy Pokemon cards, don't actually know where to put them yet. Also don't know what to do with them, there is so many. I feel like there's definitely something I could do that's arty crafty with them, I've just not figured out what yet. I have a clear desk. We ignore the fact that I put most of it over here on the floor. Also the sun's coming round and it can come through my window now because there's not scaffolding outside of my window. The radiator isn't actually working in here again, so probably not going to stick around in here too long. But in terms of the flower presses, I've decided on this size. This is how mini I want them to be. This size was too mini. It was just a bit too dinky for my liking. So we're going for this size. I can now get to my Cricut, which means I can design the paper cutout. This is what I want my Cricut to cut out, is loads of these, because if I have to cut these by hand, I might cry. The envelopes for the advent calendars were tolerable. But yeah, these, it would be handy to have my Cricut do it. I've also got these that I need to cut out, which are the grey board pieces. So these are like the bit you put in between the paper and the press, like a little sandwich, so it's got extra flat force on it. Obviously there's so many little bits and pieces and parts, I didn't end up adding any more designs to this, but that's another little piece and part that I can do. I just got to do them one by one. Ooh, almost got all of them. My little bolts arrived and I've decided they're too short, but this is the maximum size I could get to make sure they fit as a large letter if I was going to make them up myself. What I've now decided to do, because I just feel like that's a bit too short, well, it would still work, it's just you wouldn't be able to fit as many little pieces of paper and grey board inside. And I want to make sure you can still fit a decent amount of flowers to press in here. So I'm taking the advice from my auntie, who she had the idea of doing them like flat pack. I've ordered longer bolts and I'm going to put them in a little tiny envelope, more tiny envelopes. This time I'm not going to make them though myself, so then when it arrives with whoever's ordered it, they can basically put it together. It's not that much more effort, to be fair, than if you were to buy it already made up. It just means that I can fit it in a large letter envelope still, so the postage doesn't have to be more, and you actually fit more in the flower press. I've got 50 of these that I don't know what I'm going to do with, but it's fine because they will just stay in my little box of things, and then when I'm doing another project I'll end up using them for something. And then I also had my wing nuts, or butterfly nuts as they're sometimes called. These little things. They arrived. I was going to go for silver and then I decided I preferred how black looked, considering I'm going to have a black design on these. I just felt like having the black with the black, just, it looked nicer. These were more of a faff to find and they were more expensive, but it's fine because it looks like what I've got in my head. So I kind of don't want to give in and get my jumper because it's actually sunny outside. I'm going to go get my jumper because it's cold. My bedroom's nice and toasty. That's lovely. So when I move the office in there eventually, it'll be fine. To go with these, I also have these that I ordered. These again were a faff to find for the right size. But these are for if you didn't want to take the tiny flower press with you. I've got these and it's for the little papers. So when you've put something in them, you can then put it in here and then carry this. And then when you get home, you can just take out all the ones you've collected in the little pouches and then pop them in here to be pressed. I'm going to make the papers very slightly smaller than the 6x6 square because then they'll fit in here a lot easier. So yeah, that's that. I am impatient and kind of don't want to draw any more designs. I want to try and carve this one, so that's what we're going to do. I will come back to this, I can come back to this anytime, but for now I'm going to trace this and then trace it onto a stamp block and then try to carve it and see if I can carve a stamp. My brain is probably going to dip at some point and I'll need a nap, but until we get there, we're going to give carving a go. I find out if I actually like what I've been doing for the last hour or two and whether I want to just redo the whole thing. I don't know. I didn't do a very good job of putting the ink on that, but it will do for now. Ooh, okay, I do like how that looks. That's come out, I know it doesn't look great, but for me, that looks good. It's kind of shown me where on the stamp I need to still like take things up from. Put it on that bit there. Obviously all of this around the edge is going to be cleaned up, but for now I'm just trying to get the main like flower bit looking somewhat clear. I just use the back of that block to try and give some even pressure. Yay! Okay, that worked better. I had my dinner and I got kind of stuck doing this. I need to go get a shower and go lie down because my brain has turned itself off. I am happy with the progress I've made. I made my stamp and then I tested it with different inks and the lino printing ink stuff, this stuff, which came with the lino stamp carving kit that I bought. This one in the top corner was probably the best one that came out, and that was with the ink. They just keep coming out with a little bit like missing, and I've just reached my point with it where I keep yawning and I'm tired and I need to just stop. And I don't want to keep pushing through because then I'll get annoyed at myself with it. So I'll pick it back up tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow I wanted to go to town for a mooch. I basically haven't gone on the bus since before the pandemic, and they've changed a lot with the bus route, and in town like there's no bus station anymore, and there's all these like changes and stuff, and I have been to town obviously since then, but just not on the bus by myself. I have a lot of anxiety around it, and I also haven't been out and about by myself for a long time. So yeah, I want to try and go on the bus again, but my brain has a bit of a hurdle in it, and I'm like, is tomorrow the right day to do it? I think I'll know in the morning if I'm feeling up to it or not. So I'll either vlog tomorrow or I'll vlog on Friday because it's Wednesday now. Wow, what is my hair doing? I don't know. Anyway, I'm a bit of a mess right now. I need to go and lie down for starters. That's what I need to first do because the brain has been going all afternoon trying to print a freaking flower. It's Sunday. I didn't vlog the rest of the week pretty much. I ended up going to town on Thursday. And it completely took it out of me. I was very anxious for the whole day, the bus trip. My heart was going like the clappers, but I did it and it wasn't so bad. I picked up a few things in town that I needed, and then I came home and I collapsed. So I didn't do much for the rest of the day. And then on Friday I took the day to chill a little bit because Thursday was a lot. I'm hoping if I do that trip a bit more regularly it won't be quite so intense. I just hadn't been on the bus in a long time. There were just lots of things that were new and I had to get my head around. And then yesterday I spent the day cleaning. I thought I'd clean the house a little bit for my mum for today, which is Mother's Day. I haven't got any further with the stamp. Today though I'm gonna do a bit of the boring stuff, which is designing the cutouts for my Cricut. Not the greatest fun. I also think I'm going to have another go at carving a different stamp at some point. But for today I'm going to do the Cricut side of it and get the little inserts cut, and also these little pieces which are to go on the front. At some point as well I'm going to go up in the loft and drill some holes through them so I can actually have one made somewhat, even if it's not decorated exactly how I want it. I just want to see one made to see how cute it is, all pinky and stuff. I've just had my lunch. I am really cold in this room. My nose keeps like running because it's so cold. I thought I had the blade I needed to cut the grey board, which are these pieces. Turns out I didn't. So I couldn't do that one today, but I have ordered it now. It was actually on sale on Hobbycraft, which is amazing because it's like 40 something pound usually, but this time it was 30 something, so it had like a tenner off, which was great. The blades I do have are these ones, which are, I don't actually know which ones they are. They're like a little disc rather than a pokey thing, and I have two of them for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why. I don't think I've ever really used them, I'll be honest. And then I have this one, which I thought was the right blade, but I think this is just a deep cut blade, not a knife blade. I needed a knife blade, so I have now ordered a knife blade and I just got to wait for that to get here, although it did say it will be about Wednesday or right, which isn't too bad. So I can't do that, but what I did do was cut the little insert things out, and they came out really well. They're perfect size, they worked well with the scoring, it worked how I imagined. The only annoying thing about this is, which this is what this whole process is about, this is the troubleshooting part, which I don't like doing, but it's necessary. The size that I want them, which is 5.5 centimetres, so that it fits nicely in the middle of here, only fits something like 7 on a page, like an A4 page, but it leaves like a massive chunk of waste on the A4 sheet. So I need to either figure out a different size paper to cut them on so that I can make the most of the paper, or I need to make something a bit smaller to cut out of the paper that I can put along the edge, because the paper itself is actually kind of expensive because it'll be blotting paper, and for some reason blotting paper is more expensive than your average paper. So I want to make as much use as possible of these sheets of paper. Or I could try rearranging them completely, and I just don't quite know how I'm going to do it. Or I make these very slightly smaller and see if I can fit more on a sheet. That might be my next thing to try. Yeah, it's getting tedious. But my issue at the moment is the fact that I'm freezing cold, and I mean like cold, like my hands are going purple, cold, and I can't do this work in my bedroom because I need my Cricut. So I'm going to try a couple more things with this, and then I think I'm just going to have to call it a day because the house is too cold. The radiator doesn't work in here. We have new windows, but it's not helpful when it's winter outside and raining and cold. So yeah, I'm going to do my best to get these somewhat on a page and see how I go with that. And then I might be spending the rest of the afternoon. I do need to edit this vlog still, so I might just do that in bed because at least it's warm there. I've managed to cut out so many hexagons and try out so many different like sizing placements and stuff. It's really annoying because I can measure it on the canvas so that it has, you know, the right width and it fits on an A4 sheet of paper, but then it moves it so it centres it. I don't know if I can actually move this. I think I can only move it so it's inside the red line, so I can't move it like up or to the left so it's like flush with the edge of the paper. I shrunk them a little bit. I shrunk them from 5.5 centimetres down to 5.4, and I thought it was going to be like a dramatic difference, but it's really not. They are literally the same size. There is the tiniest bit of difference, but it was enough difference that I could fit them all on the A4 sheet. I am tempted to do it very slightly smaller so then I can do it so they're butted up to the edge, but I don't really want to make it any smaller ideally. This has taken me all afternoon. I did have a break, and had a moment where I was like, I am done looking at hexagons, so I'm stopping. Obviously had dinner and stuff in that time as well, but I am so done with this now. But I figured this bit out, which means I can fit 9 of these little inner folder thingies in. And I can also fit one of those on there as well, which I'm probably going to do some of these as like little separate spare packs on my shop that people can add on. Because this is the traditional way of doing it, just having like one sheet of paper, another sheet of paper, and layering them like a sandwich. But I wanted to make them like this so that they're easier if you're out and about to put stuff in without them all falling everywhere. So I've done that bit, I'm calling it a day. I switched to my other lights because that main light is so bright for this time of the day. I am going to carry on with this next week. I'm probably not going to vlog next week, not consistently like this. I might record a couple of things that I end up doing, especially if I'm doing stuff on the flower presses. So when I vlog the next week, I can insert them wherever. I feel like I just need to crack on with this with my brain and get the final little bits and pieces done without worrying about the vlog and stuff for a week. So I'm going to have a break next week. I might post another video, I might not, I don't know, we'll see. But right now, I need to go get a shower, I need to go and take this makeup off my face. It's already starting to come off my face, but yeah. My skin is actually doing so much better. This week I've seen such a difference in it. It's just like, it's back. Like my freckles and stuff are coming through again, the little moles I have on my face I can see more, because before they were so like overshadowed by spots and acne and just angry skin basically. And pigmentation and stuff, and now that's all calmed down. It's like I can see my freckles again, they stand out more. I might try and post a bit more on my Instagram as I'm doing these things if I'm not going to be vlogging. Haven't really been posting on there as much as I'd like. I honestly still find it really hard to post on Instagram, and I think it's because I just don't know what to post, because I'll post anything. That's fine, I'm capable of doing that, but because I'm not in my office anyway crafting, because I don't craft as much as I used to, like for myself, because I have other hobbies and other things and my brain just doesn't have the capacity to do it as much as I did. But because I'm not in there doing that, I don't have like passive things to post on my Instagram. I do think though, once I have moved into the other room, which I do want to talk about that at some point, but there are some things and plans happening behind the scenes that I am trying to manage and sort, that include moving things around a bit. But one of the main moves is switching my office into my bedroom. So once things are in there, that room in general is just a nicer room, it's warmer, the sun comes around at really nice times. I obviously did it up and decorated it and stuff when the ceiling came down, so it's just, I don't know, a nicer atmosphere for me. So I think once I'm in there I'll feel a bit more like I want to go and do crafty stuff. I might do a video talking about that, I don't know. I need to do one at some point because I have some things to share with you, but for now, this is where I'm at. I'm going to go and do the things I said I was going to do and stop rambling. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video in a couple of weeks, because it won't be next week.